going on, everybody? Thanks for coming out. Welcome, welcome. Gamby is, I think I mentioned on that he's driving to, he's on a road trip basically. So he's going to be not here for this thing, but I am. So how's everybody doing? Hoping you're enjoying your weekend. Happy Easter tomorrow. Yeah. I think since it's just me, a lot of these are going to be like a little quicker, so I may take like a broader range of questions. But for the most part, I'm going to be looking at like sit start is always first, right? Like that's why you're here, and it's the most important thing for me to cover. So I'll try to be doing that more than anything else. But so start two from Fiala, Tovanen, and Iafala. So I have this up. Just I don't know how much I trust these percentages, but it's just an easy way for me to see what the matchups are and remind myself of what it is I'm talking about. So we've got Fiala against Vegas, Tolvanen against Chicago, and Iafallo against the Sharks again. I think I probably bench Fiala unless you need shots. Even then, like Tolvanen is like the other possibility because he doesn't get shots. I feel like I like Iafallo right now, especially against the Sharks. So, okay, start one between Killorn, Suzuki, or Kadri. I'm going to jump over to Frozen Pool real quick and take a quick look at what happened on the power play for Colorado last night because they've been kind of cycling in it. See, Donskoy has taken Kadri's spot again. So the previous game, he was like in and out, but now that Donskoy is the man, I don't really like Kadri as much. Although he's probably going to be playing against Husso tonight, which is pretty good. Killorn's against Detroit. It's between Killorn and Kadri. I think I would still play Kadri. I assume he's been kind of slow lately, right? He's been okay. Yeah, I think I'd play Kadri. Yeah, Kadri, I think. All right. Start to... Oh, build Itrondo. Starting Zibanejad, Chari, Debrincat, Verhage, Buch, Sorelli, Trocheck, Stahl. I have Shen sitting. Shen's going to be playing against Grubauer tonight, so that's not good. I would probably play Shen over Achari. I know he's been pretty good. Actually, you know what? Barkov is supposed to be back tonight, I heard. Check another game day line tweets is another thing I use here. So this is yesterday. See if anybody has said anything, but I heard that Barkov's back. Yeah, so Achari's dead. Do not play Achari. Sit Doc. Is that a question? Start Robertson or Achari. Robertson. Again, Achari's like dead now with Barkov back. Like any value he had is gone. Start two of Saros, DeSmith, Nedeljkovic, or Lankinen. So typically I would go to... I'm going to use another site here. I usually I like Pinnacle as my... I don't bet on Pinnacle, but I like to use it because I think they set the best lines. So what you want to be looking at is... because of the size of the screen, I can't show you the over-under, but I would be looking at what the money line looks like and what the over-under looks like, so you get a kind of an idea of how many goals against it's expected to have and who's expected to win. I actually like Pittsburgh, so I think I would be playing DeSmith, and then Saros again. Like Saros is an all right start, and then you have Saros and Lankinen. They're both pretty good, and then Nedeljkovic. But we don't know who's starting for like any of those teams, do we? Nedeljkovic is starting. Let's see. Is Saros confirmed? No. DeSmith is confirmed. Man, I think I'd probably play Saros and Nedeljkovic. I think. Bangos need to sit 4. Marchand need to sit 4. Wow, that sucks. Marchand, Landeskog, Kopitar, Palat, Kaprizov, O'Reilly, Tanev, Reinstrom, McCann, Gallagher behind it. And hits, blocks, and Pims. We got to play Tanev, Marchand are definitely plays. Pims, like, I think I would sit McCann almost certainly. I would sit probably Gallagher. Blocks and Pims. You got to play O'Reilly because he does block. Doesn't really get much Pims. I think Landeskog you got to play. So McCann, Gallagher, Strome. And if you really don't need points, then I'd probably bench Kopitar and play the other ones. I'm going to skip over to Nathaniel here, as he is a multi-cat monster. Sit 2 of Robertson, Tolvanen, Fiala, Larkin, McCann, Achari. Achari's dead. With I think this is going to be a theme, but with Barkov back, Achari has no value pretty much. So I'd bench Achari and I'd bench McCann. Fiala or Yarncroke from Ryan Dangerbat. I think I'd play Fiala. I know Yarncroke's been a bit harder, but I just don't trust him long term. I like Yarncroke, I do, but I don't really buy it. Okay, scrolling back up. Sit Doc, Tolvanen, Bjorkstrand need power play points. Sitting one of those. I think you sit Bjorkstrand then, actually. I think Doc might actually be able to get in on something here, being power play 1 and now, getting a little bit more line time with Patrick Kane. And then Tolvanen's just been good and on the power play. Bjorkstrand might get more points, but I don't think he's getting more power play points than those guys. Start 2 goalies, Fleury, Varlamov, Saros. I have a sneaking suspicion that Varlamov is not going to start. So my guess is that you will not have to worry about this. I think they're going to start Sorokin. But I'd probably play Saros. I'd probably play Saros and, man, they're all good options, to be honest. They're all good options. I don't think you can really go wrong. I would probably bench Saros, actually. I just trust him less than the other ones, even though Varlamov had a bad game. But I do think that you're going to find that Varlamov doesn't play, and it's going to answer it for you. Start 2, Bjorkstrand, Natchez, Brown, Kadri in a Bangers League. I would start Brown. Who are Columbus playing? I'd start Brown and Bjorkstrand, I think. Natchez is interesting as well, but Dallas can just be tough to score on sometimes. Hi, Michael. Morning's going well, busy as always with a 1.5-year-old, but it's been a good morning. Can't complain. Now that Barkov is back, bench 1, Kaprizov, Hintz, Natchez, Svech. I would probably bench I'd probably bench Hintz, I think. Even though he's been good. Hintz or Natchez, kind of use whatever your gut tells you on that one. Speaking of Barkov being back, I'm going to quickly, I'm not going to show this on stream, but I'm going to quickly go through and make sure that any Barkov shares I have are actually going to be in play. I don't want to wind up doing something stupid. All right. Well, I got to figure who I'm going to drop. I guess I can sort this out later. I don't have to worry until 7 because the player I'm going to drop in this league is not playing until 7 either, so I can just wait. All right, cool. All right, back to you guys. Considering the news about the Canucks, so I didn't really look too much into the news, but from what I understand, it's they have a variant and it could be way worse than basically any of the breakouts we've seen so far. If you have Vancouver shares right now, this is a really interesting time. So I'll I don't think there's gonna be too many questions today. So I'm gonna kind of go into a little bit in depth on this. But if you are in a position where you can't, if you're in a bubble, you really have to have a short leash on your Vancouver players. If I were on a bubble team and even if I had let's say Pettersson on IR plus, I'd be looking to trade him. I'd be looking to trade any of my players. I'd trade JT Miller. I'd trade literally anybody on Vancouver right now because it's just so uncertain, and that can easily cost you the playoffs. If you can't find trade partners, you might have to drop if you can't stash them for one reason or another, or they don't wind up on IR, or they don't wind up out, or whatever. You can't blow your season up to try to have a better playoff. Unfortunately, it's a really bad situation, and it's the worst possible timing. I mean, not to take light away from how bad this outbreak is and how dangerous COVID has become with these new variants, but there's really no options, I think. for bubble teams. If you are a contending team, you could take a gamble here. You know, if you're in first or second and you've locked up a playoff spot, especially if you've already made the cut, you could trade with the bubble team to target guys like JT Miller, guys like Brock Besser or Quinn Hughes, and just kind of eat the spot until they come back. But it's risky. It's risky. Going back down to Nathaniel question, am I crazy that since Mata's been back, Edler's blocks hits have been down? I need a banger? Do I block Edler for Savard? Yeah, I would drop Edler for Savard, unfortunately. Just because similar to the talk about what's happening with Vancouver in general. Start 2, Bangos League, Iafallo, Carter, Mantha, Hoffman. By the way, this person, Austin Tennis, the Austin Tennis, has listed out the matchups. That is pretty helpful for me, actually, so I don't have to go make sure I remember them or go look them up or whatever. Not the biggest deal, but it does help. I would play, if you need to start 2 of them, you can't start Hoffman against Grubauer, I don't think. It's just a non-starter. Mantha against Tampa is tough. I doubt they play Mick backup. I assume it's going to wind up being Vasilevsky. It's hard to recommend doing Iafallo and Carter as well, though. It's just risky, and they're not the best options in general. But I would probably wind up playing Iafallo and Mantha. But Iafallo and Carter actually make some sense. They're likely going to be playing against Devin Dubnyk. Easiest team and easiest goalie matchup by a wide margin in the options you have here. So Iafallo and Carter actually make some sense. Play Palat or Rust? I think I'd play Palat. As much as I've been talking about how I think he's a little bit unsustainable, I think it's just a better option for tonight, or today, for that matter. Now that Barkov's back, bench 1. Kaprizov, Hintz, Natchez. I think I answered this one. Yeah. Start 2, Kakinen, Khudobin, Hart, Murray. You can't start Hart. I just don't have any. Is Murray back? We're talking about Matt Murray? I didn't even know he was back. I wouldn't start him either, though. So, is Kakinen going to play? I guess he might, right? So the second half of back-to-back. I'd probably play Kakinen and Khudobin if they both play. The other ones just seem way too risky. Points league only. I don't think my recommendations have changed. Fiala, Tarasenko start 1. I'd start Tarasenko definitely, even against Colorado. Tolvin versus Chicago, Richie versus Pittsburgh, or Meyer versus LA, or at LA. Pick 1, so you have to bench 2. I'd play Tolvinen, I think. Rust or Evander Kane need power play points and goals. I'd play Rust. My 2 goalies are Campbell and Halak. What would you say is their leash timeline with Rask and Anderson injuries? It's hard to say what their timeline is. I think Campbell's safer than Halak is. But yeah, I wouldn't be overly worried about either one right now. Boston, well, I don't know. Boston is a little bit at risk, so bringing Rask back earlier might make sense for them. But Anderson, I'm not super concerned with because Campbell's just outplayed him this season. So I think worst case scenario is he starts splitting, but you never know. All right. Start Gallagher, Iafallo, or Bjorkstrand in a points league. I think I would play Bjorkstrand. Yeah, against Bob. Forsling, Trouba, or Ferraro. Forsling, what? I need to pick up one to stream. So Forsling's in the options because he plays twice. I still think he's so much worse than the other options that I don't know that he makes up the difference. I think I play Ferraro, actually. Is there nobody else you can... Is there nobody else that plays twice? Nobody you can pick from, like, one of these other teams? I feel like I'd play, like, Juice or something. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Robertson or Tolvanen tonight, points league. Robertson. It's like I am very high on Robertson. I'm high on Tolvanen too, but he just doesn't have anywhere near the ice time of Robertson. And what Robertson's doing is actually pretty sustainable. Sit Bob, Shesterkin, or DeSmith. Points league with save volume and wins. Well, Bob is potentially going to lose the game because he's Bob and not going to get you a ton of saves against Columbus. So Shesterkin is playing against Buffalo. I mean, he's very likely to get the win though. So I'd probably play Shesterkin and Shesterkin to Smith. I'd play. I think. Would you trade Varlamov for Leonard because of Vegas' good schedule? No, I don't think so. Sit one, points league, goal, assist, block, Achari or Konechny. I would sit Achari. Again, like with Barkov back, he's just toast. Donskoy versus St. Louis, Tolvanen versus Chicago, Bjorkstrand versus Florida, Ritchie versus Pitt. Sit one. I like Ritchie, but he's who I'd sit here. Barkov and Hornquist confirmed. Toffoli's a game time decision. That's fun. Rust or Brown today? Ooh. I think Rust. I like both, but I think Rust. Thoughts on maybe dropping Binnington for DeSmith? He's starting at 1. I have Campbell and Varley. The thing is, for that league, it's okay. You already like it's an averages league mostly, so you don't really need the volume that you'll get from Binnington. So I think I might do it. Hey guys, who should I start between Fiala and Rust? I'd start Rust. Start 2, Bjorkstrand, Natchez, Brown, Kadri. Brown, Bjorkstrand, I think. Sit 1, Fiala, Konechny, Natchez, Robertson, points league. I would sit probably Konechny. Drop Yossi. What? Why? What did he do? What? You're welcome, Lauren. I don't know. I don't understand what drop Yossi means, but it scares me. Trade Brock Besser for Darnell Nurse. Yep. In a points league like that, I would do that just because we don't know what's going on with Brock Besser. The only reason I wouldn't do that is if you're like very good, you're like contending or whatever. Otherwise, I think it makes sense. Drop Brown or Kadri to bring back Hornquist. I think I would drop Kadri with him losing power play 1. He might get it back, but Brown is just too valuable this season, unless it's like a points only league or something. Samson over Talbot rest of the season. Wins and shutouts only. Jeez, man. Talbot's going to get more starts. I think Samsonov actually gets more wins. Yeah, or a better win percentage. I'd probably have Samsonov, but by the slimmest of margins. Got JT Miller for Brady and Line in a points league. Contender can afford to wait for Canucks to resume. Playoffs start in 2 weeks. That still sounds... Well, actually, Line is worthless, so it's really just Brady. Seems okay. Drop Zook, Dvorak, or Kwokin to activate Chernak. I would leave Chernak on IR for now. But if you needed to drop somebody, probably Dvorak, unless you need the face-off wins. But I would probably lean to leave Chernak on IR for a little bit and then swap him, unless you have to, and then swap him if somebody else gets hurt. Morning, need some help with the decision. Need points. Pick one. Robinson. Who's Robinson? Palat, Donskoy, Buchnevich. I assume you mean Robertson. I would play Donskoy, man. He's just too hot. Had to drop Mott in a bangers to bring back Hornquist. I was hesitant, but I felt like it was the right decision. Horvat, I'm keeping till further notice. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm doing. I have Horvat in a league, but like I think I have the playoff locked in now. So I'm just going to wait. Traded Edler and Savard for Dobson Dynasty. Really happy. It seems pretty good. Thoughts on Zucker now that he's back? Is he worth I would not have him over Ritchie or Fiala yet. He's not even got power play 1, even with all the injuries. Am I crazy to start Gallagher or Pasternak today? Yes, you are. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know he hasn't done that well, but I would not do that. Is it sad that Glendening gets better C stats than Larkin? Drop Larkin for Nelson, Deneau, or Glendening. He use face-off wins, but Nelson seems to cover more categories. Deneau's been pretty good lately, but he's always hot and cold. He's a really good defensive player, so he kind of like doesn't do so well in fantasy, but I would just kind of stream the spot. I think I like Deneau the most right now. Okay. Let's see. Drop Yossi for Krug? No, don't do that. Curtis McElhinney versus Detroit. Is McElhinney starting? Is that actually happening? Let's see what goalie post says. I haven't not heard that. I feel like it's going to be Vasilevsky, so I think this is kind of a non-starter. Oh, tomorrow. Oh, it is a back-to-back, so maybe he will start today. But or Jake Ottinger. I would play anybody against Detroit. Or Goligoski and get a game tomorrow and Monday. What does Goligoski have to do with the rest of this question? Is this a pickup? It depends on what you need in that case. Start Hornquist or Hintz today. I would start Hornquist. Well, it depends on your league. If you need the hits and all that stuff, volume, hits and shots, then Hornquist. Otherwise, Hintz. I think Hintz is more likely for points. Who would you drop to pick up Mrazek? Cats with hits, Garland, Grzelcyk, Booch, Yandel. I mean, Yandel's really only getting you points and power play points. If I had to pick between them, it would probably be Yandel, I guess. But it's a lot of power play points you're dropping. I kind of like the rest of them a little bit more than Yandel, but I don't know. I may just not pick up Mrazek. I may just wait because he could not be getting the volume we think he'll get. Cirelli, Tolvin, and Robertson sit one. I'd sit Cirelli, actually. Drop Brown or Kadri for Hornquist. I would have Hornquist over Kadri at this point, so I'd probably drop Kadri. Hey, Bill. I answered this question before. I would swap Achari out for Shen because Achari is worthless now that Barkov's back. Sit one Bob, Shesterkin, DeSmith. I answered this one too, I think. I would sit Bob. Actually, I think it may not have been you. I think somebody asked the same question. Pick 2, Reinstrom, Hintz, Perron, and Fiala. Virtually tied and everything. I would play Perron. Perron and Strome? Who are they playing? Perron and Strome, I think. Well, Perron against... But yeah, I mean, I can't with good faith say play Hintz over Perron, so I do Perron and Strome. Start 2, JVR, Fiala, or Cirelli. JVR's really struggled. Needs to be playing against a very tough team. So I would probably bench JVR and play Fiala and Cirelli. Play one of Natchez or March, Banger Cats. Natchez for points, March for shots and hits and stuff. Bench for Hagee or Kopitar tonight. I can't, in good faith, again, say to bench, you got to play Kopitar. In a points league especially. Sit Cirelli or Tolvin, and I would sit Cirelli. Looks like Natchez lost top power play. Did he actually? I was kind of worried that would happen. I thought when he first played... He's still there last game. I mean, is he playing on top power play? He played, we got Trocheck on second power play last time. Maybe that changed. Somebody can update me on that. If that did change, that is kind of big for Natchez. Could open in COVID protocol, really? Did I just not know that? Yeah, Oettingen's starting. Okay. All other players, that's good at least. Start Evander Kane or Rust. I answered this one too, Rust. Drop Demko for another goalie today if you have to, if you need to. Like, I think Demko's pretty good rest of the season, but he's going to miss a lot of games probably. I think there's a chance Canucks don't play for... Yeah, you're right. There is. Dano or Larkin start today. Dano, I think. Unless you need shots or something. It's got to be Dano. It's crazy, but it has to be. Dude, how many times did you ask me about Evander Kane or Rust? I've already answered it twice now. Sit 3 Toffoli if he's back versus Ottawa. Donskoy, Pasternak. You can't sit Pasternak. I don't care if he's ice cold. Evander Kane versus Los Angeles. Ryan Strome, Patrick Kane. Can't sit Kane. Probably can't sit Strome or Booch. Can't sit Pasta. I think I would bench Toffoli because we just don't know what to expect. I'd probably bench Evander Kane. Maybe you do bench Strome here. Because I think I like Donskoy against Husso. Yeah. I can practically guarantee the Canucks will find a way to play games. I just don't know what it's going to look like. It might be very bad. My trade deadline is April 15th. I think it'll be worth moving JT Miller in a points league. probably if you need it right now. April 15th, I mean, you have some time, so you could wait and see because you're going to be selling him at his lowest possible point right now. Sit one, Brown, Bjorkstrand, Hornquist, bangers. Bjorkstrand unless you need points. If you do need points, then probably Hornquist. But I would probably play Brown and Hornquist. Drop Niederreiter for Rust. Yes, I would do that. Is Elvis Merzlikins an ad rest of the season? No. I would stick to Varley and Lankinen. Would you start Grizzlick today? Depends on who you're benching for him, but yeah, probably. No worries, Bill. Here are my trades throughout the season. Did I do well? I can't really I can't do a trade analysis. It's too much for me to look through. At a glance, everything looks fine though. I don't see anything that looks crazy. All looks good to me. I don't know. Would you start Halak today against the Penguins? Probably. I mean, I don't think they have a 57% chance to win, but I'm not worried about him getting shelled either. I did not answer yours, Tyler, I don't think. I think I answered all the ones above, though. Yeah, it makes sense, Treehouse. Kaprizov, Konechny, Kaprizov. Play Shesterkin and Price over Jari tonight? Wait, what? Over Jari tonight? The Smith is playing. Jari's out, right? I would play Shesterkin and Price anyway, I guess, but left wing lock has Trocheck on top on power play 1, but where did they get that, right? Unless somebody tweeted that out, maybe they changed the lines, but last I've seen, he is not power play 1. I don't see any reason to expect him to be power play 1. He didn't play power play 1 last game. So when you look at left wing lock and you look at guys like Daily Faceoff, they're making their best guess based on the information they have so far. I don't know where they got that information. I wonder if Daily Faceoff is also showing him top power play. Maybe I'm missing something. But from what I see, I have no reason to suspect he's power play 1. Well, they're showing him here too. I'm not sure why. I don't have an answer for that, but... Oh, Chip Alexander said he's power play 1. There you go. That's where they're getting it from. Let's see. There you go. This is where it came from. Okay. But they didn't... See, they're guessing who they took out. Unless somebody saw it, right? It could easily... That could have pushed Jordan Staal out of power play 1, so... Again, we don't really know what's happening to Natchez, but that's good news for Trocheck for sure. Okay. Going back, no hits league, Fiala in a no hits league, Fiala or Hornquist for Mrazek. I would drop Fiala for Mrazek if you need to. Yeah, Martin, that seems like what I just saw. Sit one, Couturier, Kopitar, Trocheck, and Stamkos. I would sit. That's a Couturier. I think they're going to get played pretty hard against the Islanders. Play the rest of them. Kirby Doc worth the hype. I think at this point I am a little bit more hyped on him. Now that he's playing with DeBrincat and Kane and power play 1, he's in very good position. And they're clearly willing to play him a lot of minutes. I know Achari isn't ideal anymore, but I'd pick him up a few weeks because for his bangers ability. I think he's going to lose so much ice time that it may not be worth it anymore. I mean, if you need strictly bangers from him, you can try it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he loses a ton of ice time. Yeah, start Grizz until, yeah. See, I don't know where, maybe, I don't know if Stahl or Nietzsche. So I would bet that Stahl keeps power play 1, unfortunately. And I do think that they're probably right in what I assume is a guess from both left wing lock and daily faceoff that Natchez is the one getting bumped. Stahl is a good forward. He's a good forward. He is actually a very good player, but he's a good face-off person. So, pick up for tomorrow in a points league. McElhaney, Oettinger. Well, Oettinger's playing tonight. I don't know who's going to play tomorrow, but I doubt it's him. or get an extra game next week with Golgoski. I see. It depends what you need. If you need a start, then take McElhinney. It feels like as close to a guaranteed win as you can get. With Oettinger starting tonight, I doubt he plays tomorrow, so that one's out. Golgoski just doesn't feel good enough. I think McElhinney's the play, unless you already have this week down. Start one Hintz, J. Stahl, Donskoy, Carlson. I played Donskoy against Dussault. Keep Grizz or Devon Tays in a Cats league with blocks. I would have Grizz over Devon Tays. I know Devon Tays has been good this season, but he doesn't have, when McCarr's healthy, his value is like a little bit lower. I thought Floyd's injured. He's questionable. I think it's a game time decision tonight. Big question, what's for breakfast? I didn't have breakfast. I had like a tiny bit of leftover oatmeal from the baby. Pick 2, Trocheck, Bergeron, Crosby. Got to be Bergeron, Crosby. Hornquist or Tolvanen today only. Tolvanen for, you know what? I think Hornquist is the answer. I do. Canucks players are very ill with more cases incoming. It's not good. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if they don't, there's so many repercussions if the Canucks don't play that. Like, just even to figure out, I mean, they can go points pace for the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I have a feeling they're going to make it happen for one reason. Whether it's a good idea or not, I'm under the impression that they're going to kind of force the issue and make them play like their taxi squad. That's FC confirmed. Rip Detroit. Yarncroker or LeBanc? I think LeBanc. I don't really like LeBanc that much, but I do think Yarncroke's a little bit above his head lately. Fully installs expected in the lineup for today. Okay. Sit Bjorkstrand or Buchnevich. Pick one for rest of the season. I think I would play Buchnevich. Rest of the season, probably still Buchnevich, actually. Will he end up getting more points now that Ekbag is gone? I don't think so. He was already power play 1. I don't think his situation's changed much. So, I don't think it matters. Tries playing a huge goalie problem. I have to drop a player for Hornquist return. Do I drop Aiden Hill or Reimer? Either, but probably Reimer first, actually. I think Hill, I know he's gotten shelled out, but he had like the worst possible matchups. So I think I like him more than Reimer going forward for now anyway. Gerard, Slavin, Grizzlick, or Doughty. Which one doesn't start tonight? Points League. Slavin. Hornquist or Tolvanen. I got this one already. McKinnon or Riley. What? McKinnon. Cal, Yarncroke, or LeBanc. I got that one too. Drop JVR and pick up Jason Robertson. I would do that, yes. If so, becomes start Robertson, Fiala, or Cirelli. I would start Robertson over all of them. If Natchez loses power play 1 deployment, is he worth hanging on to? Maybe. I wouldn't immediately drop him, but I wouldn't give him, like, his leash becomes like 2 games. If he goes 2 games without a point and his ice time drops, I wouldn't hang on to him. Rangers making the playoffs? Let's see. So Rangers need to be top 4, right? I don't think so. It's a big ask. I don't think so. Who gets knocked out of this group here, right? It just doesn't seem likely. I don't know. Money Puck, best intentions, but I don't really trust their model. I think this game is basically 50-50, especially because home ice advantage seems to like not matter at all this season. Oettinger could play back-to-back. He could. I really would not want to play him back-to-back. Like, what do you really want to play a tired Oettinger against a Canes? It just sounds scary to me. Still the bank over Yarncroke. Richie or Fiala? Richie. Gensel, Svetch, or E. Kane? Cats League need points, though. Probably Gensel. Keep Gensel or Patches. What? Why are those the options? I would have Patches over Gensel, but man, that sucks. You're welcome, Nathaniel. I have to ask, in any of your leagues, do you have a punishment for last place? We're always looking for some good ones. We actually don't. We kind of should though. I mean, this kind of ties into the whole goalie talk thing I went over on 10 takes, but it's tough to do unless you know everybody like well to like enforce it. Who'd you start today, Kadri or William Karlsson? Probably Kadri. Should I trade Barzell and Shea Theodore for Marner? Yes. Donskoy, Jason Robertson, or Burakovsky, pick 2. Donskoy and Robertson. And a keeper. Oh. Still yes. Even a bigger yes now. Keep Barkov on IR and play Stamkos and Aho, or activate Barkov and bench one of Stamkos and Aho. Interesting. Well, if you activate Barkov, that means you're also going to have to drop somebody, right? I would probably leave Barkov on IR, play Stamkos, Aho, see if somebody gets hurt, and deal with this later. If Toffoli plays, should I start him instead of Fiala or HS? I'd probably start him over Fiala. Potentially over an HS, depending on what... if we figure out what those power play lines actually look like. It seems strange to me that they would, if they're going to bump somebody, why would it be Natchez from power play 1? He's done pretty decently. Like, not crazy, but he's done pretty well on the power play. Like, how's Stahl been? Stahl, I get he's more of like a... I mean, he has actually done better, but he's been on power play 1 the whole season, so he hasn't done much lately. So it makes sense to me that they would, but the thing is, yeah, Stahl, there's more to Stahl in that his face-offs are good. Are they? Yeah. 60% face-off win. That's why he's power play 1, right? Best case scenario is they put Stahl out there for the draw. What are Aho's numbers for a face-off? Not bad either, But having 2 guys, net from prejudice, sure. Yeah. Also having 2 guys that can take face-offs and actually win them and keep them in the zone is good in case one gets thrown. Vastly playing back-to-back tomorrow? No, I don't think he does. There's just no reason, Why risk injury or, play a tired goalie against Detroit of all teams? It's definitely McBackup. Traded Trocheck for connecting before Troch came back. You mean you traded connecting for Troch? That's good. If you went the other way, yikes. Will Francois be back for fantasy playoffs? I doubt it. It seems like Colorado's interested in another goalie, which means bad news for Francois. Pay Robertson over Senko, Kadri, or Kreider. I'd play him over Kadri. Looking to drop Achari now. Yep. I have an open D slot since he's on IR. Should I pick up Ferraro, 1 game, Savard, or Werenski? I would play the 2 games for Savard if you need them. Otherwise, probably Werenski. Although, thoughts on Sharks moving forward, especially Kane and Hurdle. I still think I think Kane is playing very well this season, but I don't have super high hopes for them. I kind of think they're both like a 65-ish point player. Ryan Strome versus Buffalo or Donskoy versus St. Louis. Oh, man, that is a close one. It is a literal coin flip is how you should decide this, I think. Like, Donskoy has been just on fire. I don't think he did anything in the last game, right? Yeah, finally he slowed down, but still. And then you've got Strome, who's been great, and they're both playing against teams that are going to be pretty beatable tonight. I think I'd play Strome, but really close. Hughes and IR plus replace with Hronik, Ferraro, Murphy, Cats, Bangers, no Pim, or plus minus. I'd probably do Hronik. Worth picking up Saros. I would have Saros over Markstrom at this point, potentially. I mean, Markstrom has been rough for a minute now, right? It seems like every time he plays, they just get wrecked. But, yeah, it's hard to recommend. Tolvanen or Killorn for tonight? I'd probably pick Tolvanen, whatever. Donskoy and Robertson on my wire. 12-team points league. Who are my true drop candidates? Hayes, Yams, Morgan Riley, Kuznetsov. Hayes and Yams are your drop candidates. And I would switch for both of them. Looks like Natchez will be a drop. He's off power play 1. I wouldn't move it too quickly, but you're probably right. If I were to drop him, I need the guys in the Monday Widget schedule in a points league. I think I would go with Hurdle. He seems to be the hottest right now, if you're going to make that move. You're welcome, Chris. Drop Horvat because of COVID. If I would drop him only if you need to make the playoffs. If you think you can make the playoffs without it, then I think I would roll it for now. Eklund or Kent Johnson? What? What is happening with Logan Couture? Is he sustainably low? Well, let's take a look. I have a feeling he's not, but yeah, he's just cold. He's still kind of like on his career pace, right? He's been cold for a little bit here, but like, he's been cold for a while. But he's not, none of this at a glance. Again, I'm not really looking at his advanced numbers or anything, but nothing here shows me like major warning signs. He's a little snake bitten. I think he's fine. I think he should start getting points again. Kadoman's out. Yep. McCann or Deneau in points league for today. McCann still playing power play 1? I think I would go with Deneau either way, but I'm just curious. He is. Wait a minute, what? Where's Rust? What is this? What is this? I don't like that at all. Hopefully that's not the thing for today, but I'd probably pay Deneau either way. Kent Johnson, McCann. I don't know. Should I pick up line A? Nah. You can watch him to see if he gets traded, but not really that high on him. For tomorrow, Kuznetsov or Dvorak? Kuznetsov. Unless you... Just Kuznetsov in general. You're welcome, Connor. Would you go hard after Rask for that playoff schedule? I'm not looking at this was last game that I was looking at here. I'm not looking at like their projected lines. This happened. He didn't play power play 1 in their last game. He didn't play power play at all. See? Not good. Bad. Real bad. Ugh. Anyway. Would you go hard after Rask? I wouldn't go hard after him. I would poke, but thoughts on Kirby Doc? I like him now that he's on an even strength line with Patrick Kane. I still feel like he's not going to. I feel like everybody has higher expectations that are probably reasonable for him, to be honest. Like he's not the world's biggest shooter or anything. Look at that. Like he's not going to get you a whole lot, but I think the points will be there, and we'll start seeing some power play points come in. So he's got value. But start one, Tolvanen, McCann. Oh man, you got to bench a lot, huh? I would play Tolvanen, I think. If I had to drop 2 wingers out of this group for the come playoffs, just assuming Sagan comes back, who would you drop? Nuge, Sagan, Gensel, Rust, Wilson, Kachuk, Hornquist. I don't think I would play Sagan over any of those other options. Oh, you have to drop 2 of them? Sagan and Wilson, unless you need the Pims. If you do need the Pims, then it's hard to say to drop any of those other players, honestly. Probably Hornquist, I guess, but that sucks. Demko for Saros or Campbell. I already clinched playoffs. Campbell is a higher ceiling player. I would probably do it for Campbell. Saros is also good, but I feel like if Campbell can keep the net, he's in good shape. Worth picking up Zucker for the rest of the season? I don't think so. I don't really trust him. Who knows when Malkin comes back, but that'll ruin Zucker's... Well, it won't ruin his value, but he'll almost certainly be off power play 1 if he's even on it to begin with. Bangers Cats League, no face-off. Oh. Yeah, it depends on if you have Pim. Who do I start today, Robertson or Tyler Johnson? Robertson, easily. Chicago's pretty mediocre fantasy schedule, too. Yeah. I'm honestly not putting a whole lot of stock into the schedule because I mean we're already seeing games be moved in and things be moved around and stuff. So I'm really more focusing on like as far as scheduling, I'm just trying to make sure I don't wind up with like major bench days and stuff like that. I want to make sure that like I can play players every single day, but I'm not trying to maximize like I have like a little nod towards against Edmonton for their terrible schedule from a starts perspective, and one towards Dallas because they played Detroit 4 times in what's going to be maybe semifinals for most teams or maybe quarters. So those two are interesting in different ways, but like I'm not focusing too much because I just think we're, especially with this Vancouver situation, it's going to be hard to tell what's going on. Yeah, Bazzi's starting. So, man, if things couldn't get worse. You know, this is the first. I mean, I don't want to rag on Money Puck, but like, this is the first thing that makes how is this happening? Right, Vasilevsky gets confirmed, and these numbers don't change. Would they have changed if it was a different goalie? Feels like they should have, right? Tyler, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys all know, and we're not like we'll never be the type to beg for money. We know that like if we wanted to make this thing to like money generating, then we need to go find sponsors and we need to gate our tools or something, and probably make special podcasts for listeners or for patrons only or whatever. But these little like super chats and stuff definitely help us like cover operating costs, which we're doing at this point. Like we don't make money, honestly. We don't make money doing this by any reasonable measure, but we certainly can cover our costs, which is all that, we do this because we love it. And we do this because we think there's not a lot of good options out there. I mean, there's podcasts we like, High Full Fantasy, there's Keeping Carlson, and there's the RotoWire podcast when they're doing it. But I don't think there's a whole lot of resources out there for fantasy hockey, and that's why we started this to begin with. So, the sport means a lot to us. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Terry. Love you, man. I will get a beer on you. I will. You know what? As an aside, hang on. So there's a beer store down the street from me that has like a bunch of like microbreweries from around. I picked up these. I actually have one more, but I already drank it. These two from Skygazer. It's a brewery in Connecticut. So these are like, I mean, they're Weiss beers. They're basically sours, but they are friggin' fantastic. Like some of the best beer I've had ever. They're very kind of subjective, obviously. It's a sour beer, so if you don't like sours, you're not going to like them. And they're on the sweeter side. But they do really intense, crazy flavors over there. So if you can get your hand on Skygazer, or you live in Connecticut, even better, try them. They're so good. So good. Yeah, Martin, it could, but it's really, really hard to evaluate a player that's been off for that long. I to be honest, I have Sagan as well. I've held him in a league where I don't have IR slots for the whole season. But I'm also like cautious about him because a lot of the times when I'm top of the table and I wind up losing this season, it's because I take a gamble on an injured player, on an injured star that I think is going to be, as good as usual when they come back. And the fact of the matter is Sagan wasn't all that good last season. And if he comes back and it still has lingering issues, like, they're going to need him to come back as soon as possible because Dallas isn't exactly in great shape, right? Like they're not exactly locked in or anything. Look at this. Like they're going to need something. So that means that they may not get full recovery time for Sagan. It's just, yeah. I mean, would I recommend dropping Sagan outright? But no, but given the options, against guys like Rust, it's tough. All right, Colin, see you later. Should Vancouver have a good fantasy schedule? It's impossible to tell, Dave, honestly. They're already scheduling games for after what it seems like fantasy playoffs will end. So if they do more of that for Vancouver, it's like all bets are off at that point. Waiver wire is pretty bad for defensemen and forwards in 1 point league. Have 4 goalies, Fleury, Lankin, and Talbot Campbell. Not ideal. Should I just hold them? They're all great. I would try to trade one. If Cooch comes back, who do you be? Cooch is not coming back for the. I am very anti the idea of him coming back during the season. I don't think it happens. But supposing he does, the biggest loser. I mean, who gets bumped? I need to remember what their power play looks like. It's probably Killorn. I think Killorn bumps. Yeah, I think Killorn will be the big loser in this. His even strength numbers will probably still be good, but I think he just loses the power play, and that's going to be huge. But I don't think it's something to worry about. Playoffs start April 12th. Do I drop Horvat, or do we hope Canucks can be back before then? Till then, I wouldn't drop him yet unless you absolutely have to. If you're already locked in to making the playoffs, then just hold on to him and wait for more information. Any advice on what to do with Svechnikov? Drafted him in the second. I've held on, not sure whether to trade. I mean, we were fairly against the early Svech hype this season, although I still think he's a very good player. So I wouldn't necessarily try to make a trade from a position of weakness. If you have GMs in your league that are like actively targeting Svech, you can kind of see what you'll get back. But I wouldn't like intentionally try to move Svech. I think he's still a good player and he's still gonna have a good season despite like being a little weak lately. If memory serves right, he hasn't been super over the last little bit, but he's still very good. And Trocheck being back to center him is pretty good too. Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he's not been amazing, but he's still a pretty good player. Are we dropping anyone who's not named Pettersson, Hughes, or Besser? Yeah. They given their cap structure, I have to assume the NHL is going to do anything to make this work. I think they're going to bend rules if they need to. Yeah, I mean, I'm still holding Horvat just because I know I'm going to make the playoffs. I'm not at all at risk. And if I drop him for somebody else, there's no upside for me. I can just do it later. Playoffs are still uncertain for you. I would drop Demko then, unfortunately. Is Roope Hintz worth holding on to or selling high? I mean, they're going to need him to play, so he's going to have to play his heart out. So whatever injury is bothering him apparently doesn't seem to affect his on-ice too much, and he's still very good. So he's worth holding on to and selling high. It kind of depends on if you can sell him. Oh, Terry, you were talking about their cap structure with Tampa. Yeah, I mean, that is the deal. That's like the whole controversy is that they put him on long-term IR to avoid cap fairly unnecessarily. Yeah, sorry, I got those two crossed up. Start one, Donskoy, Hintz, Verhaeghe. Donskoy, I think. Fiala, Donskoy, Natchez, Robertson, Katzley with hits and pims. Start one. Ooh, those are some unfortunate benches. I would start Robertson. I'm super high on him. Any thoughts on Khudobin? Kind of too good to drop, but it hasn't been really good. Who knows what happens? I wouldn't drop him unless there's like some amazing goalie on the wire for some reason. Trade Verhaeghe for Drieger and Malkin. Yeah, well, do we have any sort of update on Malkin yet? That sounds like it's an upside trade. So if you make that trade, you're gambling. It's a trade that I don't know where I'd make that trade from, honestly. I don't think you need to hang on to Drieger. It's basically Verhaeghe for Malkin for me. But it's a strange trade. I'll say that. I wouldn't do it yet until you get some sort of update on a timeline for Malkin. Should I play Bob? I'm okay with playing Bob. I'd probably play Bob against Columbus. They suck. With Malkin out, would you recommend picking up Pajot? I don't really like Pajot that much. I know he tends to go on hot streaks, and he's kind of in one-ish right now. But if I think you probably have better options. Saros or Varlamov tonight. Goalie cats are tight. I'd probably play Varlamov if he plays, which we don't know yet. I don't think he's been confirmed, at least not here. I'll check goalie post real quick and see if they've posted anything for him. Nope, don't know. I feel like it's going to be Sorokin, to be honest, so it's going to wind up being Saros for you. If they don't confirm him by the time this game starts, then you have to play Saros. You can't risk it. Should I drop Fleury for Campbell? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, you're probably right, Martin. It's just, that's why I'm like, I would love to do it if I thought he was going to come back. The name of the brewery is Skygazer. Skygazer, yeah. Boop. This beer, like this like line that they're making, is called Watercolors, and you'll notice as soon as you pour the beer why they call it that. They're like really vibrant. What's the name of it? Oh, yeah. Does Tolvanen lose PP1 when Forsberg comes back? I don't think so. Let's take a quick look at those lines, but I would be very surprised if they did that. He's just been too good. Plus, so what's going to happen is he's going to slot in, I think Arvidsson drops out and Jarnkrok drops out, or Grantland. Probably Jarnkrok. But not Tolvanen. Drop Hyman for Robertson? I would, actually. Are you high enough on Robertson where you think he's a sell high? I really like Robertson. I actually think he could be point per game or better for the rest of the season. But, I mean, I'm always willing to sell a player if I get a good deal. It depends on what it looks like. You're right. They don't need to rush Malkin back, but they might. I mean, they're doing fine, but they're not like locked in or anything. Well, maybe they are. They've done pretty well. Is Radulov worth keeping through all the injuries? I mean, might as well take a look at what he looks like when he comes back. I still have him in a couple of leagues. Get some Pims. How good is Verhaeghe? Would he be a keeper over Zibanejad or Couturier? No, he wouldn't be. He's had a very good year, but considering they don't like playing him on the top power play, I don't think he has lasting potential. Nedeljkovic or Sorokin if starting? I think I play Sorokin. Yeah, I think I play Sorokin if he starts, which I believe he will. Yeah, Tolvanen did have power play when Forsberg. I thought so, but I couldn't quite remember. But now that you think he did, I think I agree. Trade Stamkos and Leddy for Theodore and Tuck. Nah. I like Theodore a lot, but I hate Tuck. And Stamkos is just the gem there. Do you think having 3 centers in a points league is smart, or should you move to 2? You mean center only? It depends. It's usually like if you only have 2 center spots, it's not the end of the world to have 3 pure centers. You certainly don't want to have 4. But you won't get into too much trouble. It's not ideal, I'll be honest. But I wouldn't necessarily downgrade in that case intentionally. Any sleeper second tier demon you can recommend looking at Spurgeon? Spurgeon's a good option. I think Ekholm is a sneaky option because I expect him to be traded. I think subject to change. I'll come back to your question. Bench 1, Robertson, Pavelski, Tolvanen, Reinstrom need shots and goals are neck and neck. I would not bench Robertson then. I would bench Tolvanen. Everybody else is going to get... I think Pavelski is more likely to get points, probably, including goals. Same with Strome. I think Tolvanen's the odd man out here, unfortunately. Oh, you can't? I mean, I didn't really design this to allow that, if I'm honest. So when I was like cycling over the face-off winds, you couldn't see it. Whoops. I'll try to put that on screen better next time. Thanks so much, by the way, for the super chat. Any sleeper tier 2 demon? Okay, right. Spurgeon. Ferraro's interesting on power play 2. Ekholm's interesting for the upside with the trade. Who else? Hronik, sort of interesting, as he's been getting a little bit more power play one time. Boquist's kind of interesting. There's a few, but none of like Drizlik, Morrissey. Yeah. Thoughts on Evgeny Svechnikov, Andrei's brother, older brother? Not really. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm sure Andre would like it if Carolina claimed him for some reason. I can tell you that much. Who's a better pickup for points league, Brodian or Spurgeon? Spurgeon. Pretty sure Spurgeon's been alone on top power play, which is a pretty big deal for him. Brodin has just been kind of like getting lower and lower. Yeah, see. This is bad. Brodin's like off power play 1. This is clearly a power play 1 now. It's also bad for Zook. I don't know how Victor Rask makes it into this. I guess they just want two centers, but like, ugh, Victor Rask's terrible. All right, y'all. I'm going to wrap it up, I think. Games have started, so possible trade destination best for Hall fantasy-wise, probably Boston. You'd have to assume. Bergeron or E. Kane? Bergeron. Unless you need the banger stats. Gofford, Chabot, and Kaloran for Hall and Gallagher. Should I take it? Nah, I don't think so. It's not an awful trade, but like, yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Really appreciate the super chats and everybody coming here to show support. It's funny that these are still like, I mean, we're sitting at 110 concurrent viewers, so it has gone down a little bit week over week, but people still come out. People still set in their lines, which is always a good sign. You hate it when you get this deep into the league and the players that are starting to be out of the playoffs stop setting their lines. Hate it, but I understand it. So it's good to see people are still here trying to figure out what lines they should be setting. You did, Lucas. I mean, yeah, he's been solid. I missed out on him because I didn't want to pick him up on the week that they only played twice and somebody else did. So there you go. All right, y'all. Appreciate coming out. I'll see you next time.